Hello, y'all.
No, don't say that. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the ZHP Garage. Hope you guys are having a great day. We are taking a break from the Nova build. I'm kind of happy to say because we needed something a little different.
We need to get some work done on Old and Busted.
We're obviously working on the 68 Chevy C10 truck. We're going to be replacing the gas tank underneath the bed here in the back. And it's going to be a lot of work, so it's going to be split into two different videos.
Well, on top of replacing the gas tank, we're going to add a hitch because we're going to tow with this bad boy. We're going to tow the Nova up to get dyno tuned. We got to tow the Camaro up to the track. Got some towing to do. So we're going to get this thing ready to tow. Put the new tank in it that has the pump inside of it, which we'll show as we go. But yeah, we got some work to do with this thing.
Yeah, if you guys have noticed a random gas tank lying in the background of some videos, then that's what we're going to be dealing with right now. So
It's sitting around for a little bit. Time to put it in.
yeah, it's been sitting around for a while. So let's get started right now. Let's get to going.
All right, so we got to pull the bed off the truck because the way we did the gas tank, we changed it because it was normally going to be a bed fill, but we tried to stay away from putting the filler in the bed. So we ran it over here, and originally we were going to make this so it like popped open. So every time we put gas in this thing, we got to pull the marker light off, and the filler is right here. So now we got to take this out, and we got to get the bed out off the frame because the filler goes over the top of the frame. It's really tight in between the frame and the bed floor. So the only way to get the gas tank out of this now is to pull the bed off. So we're going to get it up in the air. We're going to pull the bed off the truck, and then you can get a lot better picture, a lot better view of what we got going on. So we're going to get it up and get the bed off of this thing.
And the thing that sucks with the filler being right here, it's such a small tube that goes into the gas tank, so you can only go like quarter throttle or whatever, so you have to sit there. It takes about 10-15 minutes to get it to fill up the whole entire 20-gallon gas tank. So this is going to be a huge improvement filling up gas with it being in the bed, because then you can actually go full throttle and fill it up.
So we got this thing up on jack stands now. Get it up in the air so I get underneath it, get the bed bolts. We're going to take the wheels off, just get them out of the way and get more room to just get underneath it, just to get more space, Doesn't hurt, just get them out of the way. All right, this is our filler that I made to go into the, so this is slid onto the, I moved the filler on the gas tank that went over the top of the frame, and this went on the frame, and then this just slid in between the two rails, the bed rails for the wood, and then it came up into the marker light here where we filled it. But the problem is the diameter, and it wasn't that much of an angle going to the gas tank, so if you try to fill it too fast, it would back up, and it wouldn't click off fast enough, and it would throw up. So you had to go like super slow. So it just takes too long. So we're gonna bite the bullet. The new tank has a filler that goes into the bed. So we're doing away with this way. It's not gonna work. So we got all the bolts out on the bed. Everything's disconnected. The exhaust hangers, everything's disconnected from the bed. So now we're gonna set up the cherry picker. We're gonna get the bed picked off and get the old stuff out of this thing.
And a couple of the bolts are still in here, but they're fully unbolted. They just won't come out, probably because of the weight of it sitting on the bed and stuff. So once we start lifting the bed off of here, these will come out very easily. Well, now that we got the bed off here, we got it suspended by a couple jack stands and the cherry picker. But we're just gonna go over a little bit of the stuff that's underneath the bed that you can't see, that we didn't go over in the walk around. That was the first video here on our channel. So let's get into it. Let's talk to the master mechanic.
So here's a better look of the filler that we're talking about. So see how this normally would have been straight right here and would have been filled through the bed, but I put it, it's really tight to clear the bed. So it barely clears it. So this goes on here, and then this just goes into the rails for the bed, and then fills it through the marker light. So the angle's not really that great of an angle, so it doesn't fill very fast. So it was always backing up and throwing up. So we just decided we're gonna fill it in the bed. So we're taking this out, but we had to get the bed off in order to get it out because it goes over the top of the frame rail. So you gotta there's not enough room to tilt it with the bed on it. That's why we had to pull the whole bed off. We'll pull this out and then we'll compare the new tank to the old one and what the difference is. Now you can see the exhaust on the truck. It's kind of hanging a little bit because this goes to the bed, but how we have our 2018 Tahoe resonator, and then it goes up. We have a Dynatech muffler here, and then it goes underneath the cab it has another Dynatec muffler, but it's all 3.5 inch exhaust. And you can see here we added a whole new, this is the feed line, and then the return line is right there. So the returns is all new fuel lines we added. Truck 12 volt with the, you can see the disc brakes. You can see here that we added we put the battery in the back out of the way, because originally we were planning on turbo in this truck. I think we kind of veered away from that a little bit. We're going to do a different engine, but that's why we have that's why we have the A1000 pump on it, a bigger pump, because we're planning on turbocharging it. So now that the bed's off, we're going to also replace these bushings in the trailing arms. They're probably just original, so we're going to put some new bushings in there. Now we have a little more room. We're going to add the tow hitch that goes, it's the hideaway one. So it's going to wind up sitting behind the license plate, and the plate flips down. So we're going to put this on because they kind of go hand in hand, the gas tank with the. So we're going to do a hitch, a gas tank. We're going to do some bushings in the trailing arms. We've got to reconfigure the fuel system a little bit because the new tank has the fuel pump inside of it. So we're going to start with getting this pump out, or this tank out of here, and then we'll show you the difference in the two tanks. So on the carbureted configuration, before we put the sump on it, this is the outlet for the pump, because this tank is just designed for a suction. It's a normal carbureted engine, so we added the, to make it fuel injection. So this used to be the outlet for the carburetor, so we just capped it so we can drain the tank like this if we ever needed to. We're gonna take these fuel lines off. This has AN fittings on it, so you always want to use 2 wrenches, especially on the pump, because it's an O-ring. It's not very tight. So I'm gonna take this fuel line off to get the fuel tank out, and this is the return line.
So I assume the return line returns gas to the fuel tank after it's not being used in the engine?
Yes, sir. Whatever's left over gets returned back. Then we need to take the power and ground off of the pump. And this tank has 3 9/16 bolts that hold it on each side.
Easy there with your persuading.
Yeah, I persuaded that one good. All right, so this is the old tank. Obviously, this is the bottom side of it to give you a better look. See, we added the sump, and then it has dash 12. And then a pre-filter, and then the A1000. We're having issues with the fuel pump on this thing for a while, and we tried to figure out the problem with it. And later we found out that it was the fuel rails on the stock intake, but that's why we did this, because we wanted a siphon feed to the pump and have it lower. But it hangs really low to the ground, being that the truck's lowered and everything. We want to lower the back of it a little bit more, so we went with this tank, the BoydWelding.com, which is a very nice tank, no joke. I'm very impressed. But it adds an aeromotive stealth fuel pump that's inside the tank. One is quieter because it's not external. And then we went to the bed fill, which we're trying to avoid. So now that the fuel pump is inside the tank, we have to change the configuration a little bit. So it's a different fuel filter. So now it's gonna have a fuel filter after the pump. So we'll be changing the fittings, and we have a new fuel sender we got to set up. Fuel sender goes in this one. And then we're not going to use this bed fill style. We decided to go with a little more of a flush mount. So normally this would stick up above the bed because this whole cap would be there, so you can get a hold of it to get it off. So we went with this as more of like a flush mount. So this is pretty much almost even with the bed. And then it has a little tool to open it up. So it's a little bit bigger of an opening. It's a bigger hole to get the nozzle in. And you can see that when it's in the bed, it'll be pretty much the same height as the stainless rails. So it'll sit about like here, but it's about the same height as the, so we can still put stuff in the bed and it won't be in the way. We're gonna put the hitch on here first because some of the holes we have to drill onto the side before we do the tank. Will be in the way of the tank, but we have to drill the holes for the tank also to mount it. But we're gonna get this thing set up, get it pre-assembled before we even worry about putting it in. But we're gonna do the hitch first. I just want to show you the difference in the two tanks, why we changed it, to get more ground clearance, and then the pump inside of it make it quieter. So the center came pre-assembled. I was just double checking the throw to empty to full, and it looks pretty good. So go ahead and install the level center. Work it on in. These have these O-rings on it to seal it. And it's a good idea to put a little anti-seize on the threads, because these are a stainless bolt into aluminum and you don't want it to gall up and seize in there if you ever want to take it back out again. Being there's an O-ring in there, you don't want to get too crazy on tightening it because you just squish the O-ring out. So this one has the carbureted outlet like this one does, the old tank does, but we're not using it, so we're just going to do the same. We're going to put a fitting in it, and we're just going to cap it. But this, you want to put a little bit of thread sealer on it. So I just use a little Teflon paste, run it around. This is the pipe fitting here. You don't need to get too crazy on the tightening it. This one's going to be the return. It's going to be in this one. This one's for a vent, a rollover vent. Probably can put a 90 on it, so we'll go around that, clear the vent. This one has an O-ring, but I got to set it up. Just an O-ring on the fitting that goes into the pump. So I got to set it up before I determine, because it's going to go to the braided line. So I need to mock it up in there so I could see how long it needs to be. So let's get this out of the way. We'll get the hitch put in it, and then we'll mock up the gas tank. All right, we're gonna have to take this bumper out of the way because it shares. Well, this is an old exhaust hanger I forgot to take off, but that's getting trashed. But the hitch comes on the outside, so we got to get the bumper out of the way, get the hitch in there first, and then readjust this. So we're gonna take the bumper off. Got it. Let's throw this over here.
Yeah, right.
So we got the hitch in here, and we're said to put it according to the instructions, and it's pretty far forward. It's not going to work out. As you can see, once the hitch goes through the bumper, the pin, it's not going to reach. So we're going to have to drill new holes. We're going to have to move these back to move the hitch back, because I want the hitch almost touching the bumper. So when I put the receiver through, I can get it into the pin, no problem. So we're going to have to take this back apart, take this back off, and move these holes. We're going to move them up this distance and drill new holes. We have to do this before these ones, because we didn't drill any of these side ones yet either. So that's why we have to do it before the tank, because some of the bolts go through in the tank. Even though it has the holders that you slide through for the bolts, the nuts, but I don't want to be drilling with the gas tank in here. So that's why we're putting the hitch on first. So we're going to take it back off. We're going to measure this, and then we're going to move the bolts back, drill new holes, so we can move the hitch back where I think it's a better spot to be. So we got the hitch moved back. You see where it was before, where it said the instructions to go to, but it was too far forward, so we moved it back 4.5 inches. Now we like it better. Now it's just right behind the bumper. A little bit of space, but once we get the bumper adjusted, it'll be almost right there. It just clears the brackets, so everything turned out good. The only thing we're gonna have to do is where the hitch is a little bit lower than the bumper bolt bracket, so I'm gonna have to make like a half moon so it sits flat. The bumper bolt sits flat. We gotta drill the side bolts, get the hitch done, finished mounted, and then we gotta cut the center for the receiver to go through, and then put the little spring-loaded license plate so it flips down, so we put the hitch in it. Then that'll be done. So we're gonna get that finished up. So when you come back next time, the hitch will all be done, the bumper will be put back on, then we're gonna move on and do the gas tank.
So stay tuned for Friday. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the subscribe button down below if you're not subscribed already to the channel. Peace out.